Breaking news now. Texas Republicans are taking on the lawlessness of Texas Democrats on the run. The GOP is ready to vote on redrawing the state's congressional map. Governor Abbott is now suing those Democrats who fled the state to try to block the vote. He says they abandoned their office and the people who voted for them. And developing now the Democrat plan to stay out of Texas until Republicans kill the plan to redistrict. So are they moving out forever? I'm Harris Faulkner. This is the Faulkner Focus. Now a look at the list of those Democrats who were no-shows for Tuesday's House session. It's long, 54 names, including the caucus chair, Jean Wu. Governor Abbott filed an emergency petition yesterday to remove Wu from his position. He calls him the ringleader of the derelict Democrats. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton was with me, as you know, yesterday, and he has an ultimatum. Starting this Friday, any rogue lawmakers refusing to return to the House will be held accountable for vacating their office. If you don't show up to work, you get fired. AG Paxton again in focus yesterday.
This is the third time I've seen it in my political career. I haven't seen the Democrats ever leave on any other issue, whether it was abortion, whatever we talked about, they would stay and fight. This is the only issue that they've ever cared enough about to leave. And as ironic as it is, going to Illinois, probably the most gerrymandered state in the country, it's so hypocritical. It's incredible.
DNC Chair Ken Martin on Fox this morning was defending Democrats after visiting with them in Illinois yesterday.
This isn't just some sort of stunt. I mean, this requires everyone at this point, not just Texas Dems, but people throughout this country. Governor Newsom, Governor Hochul, Governor Pritzker, other governors, members of Congress, and other elected officials who are standing up right now against this illegal power grab.
Look, this is a moment in Texas, obviously, but nationally as well in politics. Senator Tim Scott of the great state of South Carolina is on set with me today. He'll join in just a moment. Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy, though, with more on what the White House is weighing in with. Peter.
Harris, we had a chance to ask President Trump himself what he thinks about new Democratic plans to counter Republicans with new maps of their own.
Redrawing their congressional map would get you 5 safe red seats. Means that California, New York, Illinois, and Maryland are all going to redraw their maps to add safe.
Well, they'll do it anyway.
Is it worth it?
Yeah, they'll do it anyway. Why? If we stop over there, they would have done it anyway.
Eric Holder was one of Barack Obama's attorney generals. He has been working on redistricting for years. His group's website warns about maps being redrawn unfairly by election deniers. And Barack Obama himself is now saying we can't lose focus on what matters. Right now, Republicans in Texas are trying to gerrymander district lines to unfairly win 5 seats in next year's midterm elections. This is a power grab that undermines our democracy. But there is one president at a time, and the current one wants to do whatever is necessary to let Texas move forward with this new map that adds the 5 safe red seats.
Do you want the federal government and the FBI to help locate and arrest these Texas Democrats who have left the state?
Well, I think they've abandoned the state. Nobody's seen anything like it, even though they've done it twice before. And in a certain way, it almost looks like they've abandoned the state. It looks very bad. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Should the FBI get involved? Should the FBI get involved?
Well, they may have to.
Vice President Vance is off to Indiana tomorrow to talk to Republicans there about possibly making a new map. Harris?
Peter, thank you very much. Republican Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, also the chairman of the NRCC. Good to see you right now.
Thank you very much.
And always, look, this is now a larger scope issue, but I want to drill down just for a moment on Texas. Where are they in all of this, and why is this moment so contentious?
Well, they're on solid grounds where they are. That's what makes the moment so contentious. The Democrats are apoplectic about losing power. The Democrats have been doing gerrymandering for one purpose and one purpose only, to consolidate their power and their control, period. We're taking a page out of their playbook. When the New York Times says that the Democrats don't have a leg to stand on, that ought to tell you something, because this strategy is about power. And the fact of the matter is that we are going to do all that we can to make sure that we continue to work together with this working class coalition that elected President Trump to produce the results they want. It's how we keep the promises that we made will be the promises that we kept on the campaign trail. This is the strategy that the Democrats have been using for decades.
Yeah. It makes me think of another Democrat. Maybe you've heard of the man who said elections have consequences.
Yes.
That's kind of what you're saying, right?
100%.
Well, and Ken Paxton, the AG, who we just heard from, he was on the program yesterday, the AG for Texas, said Texas has had a boom in population. And so this is necessary. Like, in order for people in certain areas of the state to have the right representation, free representation, it's grown to more than 33 million people. So you have to accommodate for that.
1,000%. You think about states like California and New York, they're bleeding people. Why? Socialism doesn't work. They look like they want to try it again, but it doesn't work. So where are they going? They're going to places like Florida, South Carolina, and Texas. Obviously, if you have an incredible increase in population, you want to make sure that you take advantage of the opportunity to redistrict so that no one person has too many people in that district. This is probably the most effective way of getting to the finish line and representing the constituents.
All right, we've seen critics call out the hypocrisy, just as the senator did, given where most of those Texas Democrats are hiding out right now. Take a look. Illinois congressional district map. Republicans accuse Governor J.B. Pritzker of gerrymandering the state, quote, to hell and back. I'm quoting them. The nonpartisan Princeton gerrymandering project gave Illinois 2 F grades, one on partisan fairness and the other on geographic integrity. All right, so it's not fair and it isn't ethical. Okay, that's what they said about their gerrymandering. Pritzker signed Illinois' redistricting maps back in 2021. It left Republicans with only 3 of 17 seats in the entire state. An interesting makeup, given President Trump still took home nearly 44% of the state's popular vote last year. So even when they did all of that, it didn't help them win. Here's Governor Pritzker of Illinois on whether he would redraw the state again.
Everything's on the table. I mean, we got to fight fire with fire. They've frankly tossed the rule book out, and they're just acting in an unconstitutional fashion. And what we're going to have to do is whatever it takes to preserve democracy.
Your reaction?
Well, JB, seriously, you're talking about preserving democracy when the president wins 44% of the state and the Republicans only have 3 out of 17. That's less than 25% of the congressional districts have a majority red seat. Out of a state where the president did 44%. The numbers just don't add up. The math, it doesn't work. We're talking about the gerrymandering capital of the world, Illinois. Please stop talking.
All right, so one of the Texas Democrats who fled the state with a shocking comparison that's drawn a lot of criticism.
We better have the courage to stand up. Otherwise, we will fall for anything. And in this country, we will be defeated, deported. I mean, we will lose all of our rights. And if you think it can't happen, it can. And I will liken this to the Holocaust. People are like, well, how did the Holocaust happen? How was somebody in a position to kill all them people? Well, good people remain silent. Or good people didn't realize that what happens to them can very soon happen to me or somebody I love.
Don Lemon just sat there like a stone. I thought he was asleep at first because his eyes were down for so long. Look, why do we need to even compare this to anything? Millions of people, Jews, died in the Holocaust. We know. We're intellectual beings. We know. Right. We're sentient. We know that this has nothing to do with that. It's whataboutism. They're desperate.
Well, bottom line is simply this. Making comparisons that have nothing to do with one another doesn't make it better. It makes it worse. Actually, people see through that. It's a veil. The truth of the matter is that they've lost their minds and they're losing their voters. As a result, they're looking for some way of holding on to the very little power they have. Think about what the Democrats have done to minority communities around the country. They have devastated minority communities. Why? They were more interested in the power than the progress of the very people they represent. That's why President Trump has this new working class coalition. Nearly 48% of Hispanic men voted for President Trump. 30+% of African-American men voted for President Trump. Over 50% of Native Americans voted for President Trump. That means redistricting, as you see these states fill full of more people, they're going to redraw those maps so as to maximize the opportunity of the new citizens who say, free at last, free at last. They want to experience it, and President Trump has delivered. The Democrats are scared to death
Yeah, and the Democrats also realize that they can't keep people in their states.
No.
I mean, they're sanctuary states. They're harboring the worst of the illegal immigrants. And so, yeah, they can't. And so they just want to get mad at Republicans for taking them away, but they're not. People are fleeing just like they did, although it's legal when the citizens flee.
They're voting with their feet because their vote in those states just didn't matter.
Wow. All right, you have a brand new book. Please hold it up. One Nation, Always Under God, Profiles in Christian Courage. It's out now.
Yes.
Talk to me about why you wrote this book and what the biggest message is for people.
Well, too often today we're celebrating the wrong people doing the wrong things. My book, One Nation, Always Under God, is about ordinary Americans who take an extraordinary stand because they felt in their hearts that God called them to do something. I think about Dorothea Dix, a woman who decided that she would change the state of insane asylums at the time of her life. She, moved by God, went and visited place after place after place and came to one decision. I must change and bring dignity and respect to these institutions for the people. She changed the course of mental health and how we treat it in America today. You think about person after person after person in my book that talks about these profiles of Christians called by the Lord to do something significant in our amazing nation.
All right. It sounds like a wonderful read, and it's right on time.
And this is your copy. I even signed it to you.
Thank you.
You don't have to get yours at Amazon.com. Yours is right here for you, right now.
I love that. Thank you. God bless you. Your wife, 1 year anniversary.
Praise the Lord.
Congratulations.
Indeed,
Amen.
indeed.
All right.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.